Vanguard alerts have officially launched. Now, for those of you that are not familiar, Vanguard alerts are essentially the weekly GM replacements. If you remember way back when, every week we got used to that same cadence of a new Grandmaster Nightfall. We would go in there with our best loadouts. We would fight to get to the end to then secure a god roll of whatever the adept weapon drop was for that week. Now, Grandmaster Nightfalls at one time were some of the most challenging pieces of content inside of Destiny. Like when it first launched to us, it was so difficult. Then they got a bit easier, and then they got flat out dog walked as we got stronger and stronger, especially post Final Shape. Since Edge of Fate released though, Bungie removed Grandmaster Nightfalls as they ported everything into the portal. And although yes, in theory, it sounded like it was going to be really good, removing that weekly ritual grind really hurt Destiny at its core. But now we have Vanguard alerts. And let me just say guys, Bungie has brought the challenge back. This week's Grandmaster Nightfall is Exodus Crash. And although it's an old strike, it is extremely challenging. We're talking minus 50 deltas, loaded down with enemies. Everything can pretty much kill you. And if you are not leaning into the modifiers, you are going to have a tough time. Now, at the end of this challenge though, is a guaranteed shiny tier 5 Horus Lease, already masterworked with that additional origin trait, Accelerated Assault. As you know this season guys, this origin trait is only present on quote unquote shiny drops, very similar to how the drops rolled out back in Heresy. You remember back then guys, we had Runneth Over. That's really what gave value to particular drops when farming things like the Nether activity. The same thing applies to the Lawless Frontier, as you could also get shiny drops there, and Bungie has done the same thing with these Vanguard alerts. And we'll talk more about Accelerated Assault at the end of this video, just to go over just how efficient that origin trait actually is, as yes, it does tack on more damage. Now, interestingly enough though, within the Vanguard alerts playlist, which is right there next to Conquest, there are also additional playlists that are available. One being Fireteam Ops, another one being Arena Ops. You also have Crucible there, this week's Nightfall, which is Exodus Crash, and the Raid. Let me just say guys, the Fireteam Ops and the Arena Ops playlist is incredibly easy. And they have their own dedicated loot drop for the week. And yes, they can also drop with that Accelerated Assault origin trait as well. For instance, I got the Rocket Assisted Pulse Rifle, this Psi Eterna, and it rolled with Accelerated Assault. So in a lot of ways, there's kind of a flavor here for every type of gamer. Today, guys, we're going to go through the Vanguard alert system. We're going to talk these rewards. We're also going to talk about whether or not this is a successful replacement for Grandmaster Nightfalls as a whole. And then we'll end it talking about the origin traits, because again, this is what's really bringing value to these weapons. No, we don't have adepts anymore, but in a lot of ways, tier 5s are better than any adept ever was. It's that origin trait though, guys, that's going to have at least myself grinding for these weapons. So again, guys, if you're trying to access Vanguard alerts, this is still present within the portal. You can head on over to the seasonal hub, and then right there at the top, you'll see a tab for Vanguard alerts right next to Conquest. You'll have these 5 different active playlists you can choose from, but there will be a 6th added after the new Equilibrium dungeon releases. Now, anyone who is into in-game challenges are going to be instantly drawn towards that Grandmaster Vanguard alert, which is very much like Nightfalls of old. You have one strike present for the week, that being Exodus Crash as of this recording. You've got one featured weapon to chase, that being Horus Lease as of week 1, and your first completion for the week with a B grade or higher will earn you a tier 5 Horus Lease, pre-masterworked with that additional origin trait. And it also says it will contain a very large power boost. It even says it will drop 5 enhancement prisms, 2 ascendant shards, and the patch notes from this week said that further drops will have a low chance of dropping with that unique origin trait. And Grandmaster alerts will also drop 2 Fireteam Op Ingrams based on your grade. Now for me guys, at the end of my run, I actually got 2 tier 5 Horus Lease to drop, but only 1 was a shiny. I also got a tier 5 86 sword and a tier 5 chest piece, along with some other currencies. Now other rewards it says that you can earn from this include the Psi Eterna 4, something, the Evening Sidearm, Nox Side Reel, Manotti, Motive, which is that area denial frame grenade launcher, Hawthorne's Field Forge shotgun, and the Ferropotent Armor Set, which is a pretty good good armor set. It comes with the rapid repair as its 2-piece, which states that when your shields begin to regenerate, you gain flinch resistance and damage resistance for a short time. Its 4-piece is built from scratch, where while your reserves are low, combatant final blows with weapons provide additional ammo progress based on their ammo type. Primary ammo weapons boost special ammo progress, and special ammo weapons boost heavy ammo progress. I would say for survivability though, that 2-piece is pretty solid, guys. And yes, you can stack this with our smoker jumpsuit set and just double up on that damage resist. Now, I did spend all day pretty much grinding Exodus Crash. And let me just say the drops for Exodus, well, they were okay. I got the guaranteed accelerated assault, Horus Lease, on my first completion. But then after that, I don't think I saw another one drop all day long. And this also seems to be account-based because I swapped over to my Warlock, ran it there as well, but I did not get a shiny version of Horus Lease, just a basic tier 5. Now, this led me to look at some of the other playlists in Vanguard alerts, most notably Fireteam and Arena Ops. Both of these playlists are very simple. It literally says that it's at normal difficulty, it has easy modifiers on, it has a weekly challenge that awards you shiny tier 5s guaranteed. And for both of these playlists, the challenge is just to complete 3 activities in the playlist. And as you can see right here, guys, it shows the reward as being Sciaturna 4, with your first drop being a shiny. It also shows Fireteam Ops gear, 50 chronologs, XP plus, and an enhancement prism. And matter of fact, one of my editors ran this playlist, and after his 3rd run, he got 2 shiny Sciaturnas. And the same actually happened to me, which is crazy considering just how easy this playlist is. Keep in mind, in order to get a tier 5 in the Fireteam Ops playlist, you've got to be hitting like Grandmaster and Ultimate level difficulties to secure that tier 5. This right here is substantially easier, and it's giving you one of the best weapons in the game with one of the best origin traits in the game. What I do want to mention though, if you are farming Fireteam Ops or Arena Ops, you need to prioritize killing literally every single enemy, as you need to net a B rank score at the end. And I found that when we ran through really fast and just shredded the boss, we were actually at a C rank score, which gave me a Sciaturna, but get this, it was a tier 1, which is kind of hilarious because yes, it has the origin traits, but it's a tier 1, man, which is ew. Now, the loot pool for Fireteam Ops as well as Arena Ops seems to have a lot of overlapping loot. Everything from something to Eterna to Evening to Nox Side Reel, Minoti, Motive 86, the Hawthorne Field Shotgun, and again, the Ferropotent Armor Set. And there's actually 2 more challenge stages after you complete the first 3 activity runs, which is just 3 more runs completed. And according to this week's patch notes, the 2nd and 3rd challenge stages drop 2 pieces of gear each, resulting in 4 additional Ingrams. It also states that all of these drops come at a higher power than what you can get from playing activities, as well as a higher tier. So on one hand, I'm like looking at Fireteam Ops going, okay, this is substantially easier. How is this going to differentiate itself from the Grandmaster Nightfalls? And I guess that really is just going to come down to what is in fact exclusive loot to Grandmaster Nightfalls. Horus Lease is obviously one of those, but if you're just trying to get these other drops, hell, Fireteam or Arena Ops is by far the easier way, which takes us to the Vanguard alerts for Crucible players. That's right, Bungie has added a playlist, or at least made the Control playlist the Vanguard alert. And it's the same challenge here. Simply just complete 3 matches and it will reward you a shiny weapon drop with that accelerated assault origin trait. This time being Mos Athanor 4, along with Crucible Ops gear, Bright Dust, XP plus, and an enhancement prism. Now, for those that have not used this weapon, this is one of the best 120s in the game. And let me just say, guys, like I got in my 45 minutes of playing Crucible 2 rolls of this hand cannon with the accelerated assault origin traits, and they were 2 very good rolls. Now, if you're not that interested in the hand cannon, you do have other rewards though that you can also get, including the likes of Quad Vinctus, Minoti is also here, Motive 86, Hawthorne's Field Forge Shotgun, and the Wild Anthem armor set. Now, for those that are not familiar with this armor set, the 2-piece set bonus is Fanfare. Gain increased reload speed for the bottom half of your equipped weapons magazine. And its 4-piece is Suros Harmony. Reloading a weapon granted a bonus to handling and reduces incoming flinch for a short time. Weapons with the Suros Synergy origin trait are granted increased range instead. Now, guys, I have not personally tested this. That increase in range, though, does sound pretty interesting, but we'll have to test to see if it's noticeable or not. Now, the last playlist in the Vanguard alerts is of the raid itself, at least until the dungeon is added, and this is the Desert Perpetual raid. Now, this has its own weekly challenge, which is to complete all 4 encounters for any version of the Desert Perpetual raid, which will award seasonal bonus powerful gear. Now, I haven't done this myself, guys, as we were just completely tied up with the Grandmaster Nightfall. I don't think there's anything crazy happening loot-wise. Yes, you'll get the seasonal bonus powerful gear, so good if you're trying to get some more powerful Ingrams on top of what the raid already drops, but I wouldn't expect like accelerated assault to suddenly start dropping on raid weapons. I think Bungie just added this in, as yes, raiding, just like Grandmaster Nightfalls, was part of our like weekly ritual rotation. Now this takes us to accelerated assaults. Is this origin trade really worth going after on these shiny rolls? Let me just say, guys, a god roll is still a god roll. If you get that tier 5 out of 5 god roll, definitely worth keeping. With that being said though, if you get that 5 out of 5 god roll with accelerated assaults, that is the ultimate god roll. And this can apply to gear drops within Vanguard alerts and even lawless frontier weapons. Now the origin trade reads that dealing sustained damage with this weapon loads a small amount of ammo from reserves or removes heat and slightly increases damage. Now there's also an alternate version on the new heavy sniper rifle which says dealing sustained damage with this weapon further increases reload speed and increases damage. Now how this origin trait works is that you need to land at least 3 hits to then proc the origin trait, which is then going to have a timer on your screen, which seems to be around 4 seconds on our heat weapons and about 7 seconds on our sniper rifle. And in terms of damage bonus, it's about a 5% increase or a 6% increase with the enhanced version, which let me just say, guys, that's really nice. I mean, you're getting free 6% more damage from just an origin trait. Now the timing on the activation for this thing is a little bit weird. If you space out your shots, you only need 3 to actually proc it. But if you spam your shots, you're going to need more than 3. According to other testers and information we found on Destiny Data Compendium, this seems to be because you need to land 3 hits with a max of 1.2 seconds between each hit. But it only counts a hit up to once every 0.8 seconds. Now let me just say, most people are just going to be using their weapons like they should be, spamming it. But just know if you time out your shots, you can land just the 3 and then proc the damage buff. Now, at least from our initial testing, it does seem like the buff can be refreshed by continuing to deal sustained damage, which is good. Now, as far as the ammo loaded or the heat reduced portion, this should be around 10% of the magazine loaded from reserves, and then for heat weapons, 10% heat vented. However, the sniper instead gets increased reload speed. Now, I don't have the exact number stat-wise for this, but let me just say, guys, it's noticeable. You can see it right here on the screen. Now, one thing we wanted to touch on was the damage buff itself, as there seems to be some weird stuff going on. You can see here when we were testing out the Eterna with the accelerated assault, you can see the damage of our shots increasing. Without accelerated assault procced, we get 3 damage numbers of 319 and 3 damage numbers of 385 for a total burst of 2,112. With accelerated assault, this increases our damage numbers to 3 instances of 338 and 3 instances of 408 for a total of 2,238. So more damage, right? Well, that's where things get weird, because if we just spam the shots here at Carl, you would expect that our accelerated assault origin traits would give us better overall total damage on the scoreboard. But as you can see here, without the origin traits, we had a total damage on the scoreboard of 29,568. But with the origin traits, that dropped a whopping 3,000 to 26,581. Now, in terms of why this is happening, Mossy Max chimed in over on X, and he stated it's the fact that burst weapons sometimes calculates perks based on their underlying shot counts and then rounds down to the whole burst. And those rounding errors sometimes adds up and will steal a full burst from you. So let me just say, guys, it is a good origin trait, but on burst fire weapons, it obviously is having some issues. And for Bungie to make us grind, myself grind for these weapons with accelerated assaults, well, hell, you got to make sure it's working right on all weapon types, even our burst fire weapons. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is doing Exodus Crash itself. Again, this is a very, very challenging nightfall. The loadout that I ended up using the most was actually this Titan loadout with Strongholds and the Praxic Blade on Void, and it performed very well for me. Now, there's a number of contributing reasons to why this build is doing so well. Number one, the Praxic Blade is fantastic. Its ammo economy is great. I'm utilizing Hyper Blade, Forceful Blade, Balance Formed, and Impact Core, and I'm essentially just applying Weaken as much as I can, and I'm leaning into my artifact mods that heavily reward swords. My favorite one being the Sword Storm combo. That's that Mega Bonk AoE effect you see going around my body pretty much constantly. All you have to do is land the 3 light attacks and the heavy attack, and boom, you've got it going. But a big reason why I'm taking advantage of Praxic Blade is going on this week is the Special Surge. Essentially, Special Surge doubles special weapon damage and increases the chance of special ammo dropping in the portal. portal. And yes, guys, this applies to Vanguard alerts. Let me just say, you're at minus 50 here. Everything is incredibly challenging. Take advantage of your special weapons, whether it's Mint, whether it's Praxic Blade, hell, whether it's Choir, Sayaturna, use it, fellas. I will say though, I do have a dim link down below. You can plug and go with my build. It will carry you well throughout this nightfall. But one thing I need to mention about using a good stronghold build is you don't want to block the entire time. Hell, you don't even want to block half the time. There was a time where blocking with strongholds was a genuine playstyle, and that was back during Heresy. With this build though, guys, you actually want to use the Praxic Blade. Do your 3 light attacks into your heavy attack. Use the weapon itself. It's got anti-barrier capabilities. Have you an overload weapon. I was actually rocking Sayaturna because you can easily rock double special with the Praxic Blade. And then if you find yourself in a pinch, that's when you want to block. Or if you're just trying to refresh restoration. Now, one thing I really want to ask you guys is if you have gotten a drop with accelerated assault on anything outside of the featured weapons for the week. For instance, I've only gotten it on the hand cannon, the rocket assist pulse rifle, and Horus Lease, but I have not gotten it on any other drop in the playlist. Please let me know in the comments below though if it is dropped for you, because I'm just trying to figure out if there is a possibility, even if it's super rare, but if there's a small possibility that accelerated assault can drop on any of the weapons that does drop from Vanguard alerts. Well guys, that is our video. Good luck on the grind this week. It's a challenging nightfall. Again, just do it once at least just to get the guaranteed drop. And then afterwards, you can just hit up Fireteam Ops or even Arena Ops or play a little Crucible. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.